I hope you've all opened your STATA application. As you can see, we have 5 windows. The first window that we have, this window here, is called, this is the command view window. Command view window. In command view window, all the commands that you've entered in STATA, they'll be appearing in this window here that I've written command view window. So, for example, if you want to ask for help, and I'll type help, which help do I want? Regress. If I enter, press enter key, a pop-up appears. Then, on command view window, something has happened. What is this? We have this command here, written help regress. So, every time you enter your data, and every time you enter a command into STATA, it will always appear on your command view window. The second window that we have in STATA, it's called variable window. And this is the window here. Variable window help us to display all the variables and their labels. For instance, if you have 30 variables, they'll appear on the variable view window. And let's try it out and see if that will happen. I'll upload a file. Later on, we'll discuss about how to import and export a file. But for training purposes, I'm going to import an existing file into STATA. And you can see on the variable window, this area, we have list of variables with their labels. For example, the variable number 1 is make. And you see, for STATA, when you are entering a variable, it should not have a space in between. The label for the make is called make and model of the car. Now, the label gives you an elaborate description of the variable. The second variable that appears on the variable window is called price. And price will remain to be price. The next window is property window. And property window defines, 1, the name of the variable. It will tell you, this is the name of the variable. And also, if a variable has a label, it will show you the label of the variable, the type of data that is in that variable, the format, the value, and if there are notes. Also, it will give you a brief description about your data, like the file name, how you've saved your file, the labels, if there are labels, and notes, if notes are there. Then of importance, the total number of variables that you have, as well as the observations that are there. And you know, observations are cases that you've entered. For example, if you're doing a study in regards to HIV, you'll be collecting, let's say, name, age, if the client or the patient is on ART, if the patient is adhering to his or her medication, then also the viral load suppression. So, though everything that I've mentioned, those are called variables. Then, how many cases do you have? Cases are in rows. So, I have 30 cases with 4 or 5 variables. Let's look at the example on our on our property window. So, if I click on make, it has been highlighted. So you click on the variable window, you select your variable, and our first variable that we are going to interrogate or to look at is make. Then when you come to property window, I hope you can follow my cursor. When you come to property window, our first variable name is make. It's called make. The label of that variable is make and model of the car. The type, our data type is string. And all data type that are in string format, you can't use them for analysis. But of importance for analysis is the type of data that has been stored in the variable. Our second variable, if you click on price, then you come to variable window, you have name, which is price, label is price, will remain to be price, data type that has been stored inside this particular label, this particular variable is integer, that is int. And this one will allow you to do any statistical analysis. If you want to look at the frequency, if you want to do look at descriptive statistics, you'll be able to calculate your mean, you'll be able to calculate your mode, you'll also be able to calculate your median. If you want to do inferential analysis, you'll be able to do your regression analysis. You'll be able also to do the t-test. We move to our fourth window, is called command prompt window. And under command prompt window, this is where you type your commands. It is used to enter commands into STATA directly. However, I don't recommend using command prompt window because you can't save your work for future reference. For example, I want to browse. Again, we are going to learn all these commands that I'm using. I want to browse my data, and browse is a command that has been defined in STATA. So I want to browse my data. When I type browse on command prompt window and press enter key, a table will appear. This table is more or less the same as the Excel sheet we normally use. So it allows me to look at my data. I can see the make or the model of the car is highlighted in brown. The variable called price, it is highlighted in black. The variable called mileage, it's highlighted in black. So everything that is highlighted in brown, in a color that is brown, that one is referred to as a string type, data type. You can't use it for analysis. Then let's look at a variable called foreign. A variable called foreign that I've highlighted. It is in blue. That means this is a categorical or a nominal data type. This data type has been recoded from string to nominal or categorical. And when you go to the property window, when you go to your variable window and you click on foreign data type, then you go to your property window and you look at the type of data that has been stored. The type of data that has been stored here, it has been stored in byte, either 1 or 0. If you go back to your data set under variable foreign, you will see domestic is represented by 0. And if you want to know, follow my cursor. Where my cursor points, there is somewhere a value that has been indicated here. It is written 0. So if you enter 0 or the respondent or that have answered 0 to this particular question, they'll be assigned the value. We will assign them 0 in reference or meaning domestic. Foreign here, data that has been entered as foreign is represented by value 1. So the reason as to why we want to have numbers instead of characters in our data set is to allow us to do analysis. As I mentioned earlier, if you have a string or a character data type in your data file, you'll not be able to do your analysis. It will force you to do what? To ensure that you convert your character data type to either nominal or ordinal data. We move to the next window. Our next window is output window. And output window, again, area that I've highlighted. Our output window is where all the displays will appear. If you run a descriptive analysis, results will appear on the output window. So this is the output window. So let's say we want to run a statistical analysis to tabulate the value for foreign. So the first is a command called tabulate, then the variable foreign, which we are going to learn later. This one is just to demonstrate what will appear. So you have a frequency table. And in this frequency table, you can see the number of respondents that answered domestic were 52, represented by 70.2%. So for all the respondents that answered their type of car is domestic, they are 52 in number, and this one represents a percentage of 70.27%. Respondents, 22 of them answered that their car type is foreign, and that one represents 29.73% of our data. When you add 29.73 to 70.27, you'll get 100%. Whenever you enter a command, like our command tabulate, create for us a table of variable foreign, tabulate foreign, that's what it means. Create for us a table of variable foreign. It will appear on the command output window. Then, the table that you're tabulating, this table here will also appear on the command window. So every time you enter an analysis, you conduct an analysis, or you enter a command, it will always appear on the output window. Let's look at the menu bar briefly. File allows you to, one, open your folders, as you can see, as well as save or save as, just as we normally save in Word document. View, it allows you to view your data. Open your do file that you are going to discuss later on during the class. Edit your file name. Changing your working directory. That is where you've saved your work. So we are going to look at that. It will also allow you to begin, close, or suspend, or to resume. That is log. Importing and exporting your data. And you can import or export your data in Excel spreadsheet. That is also CSV text. You can also print your results, as well as look at the help or look at some of the help command. Access data that has been stored into Excel, into STATA, the way we used auto.dta. Also, the recent data that you've used. And for example, right now, we are looking at auto. There was a time I was looking at cancer data. There's also life expectancy. So some of the data that you've interacted with, you can view them. And you can view them on using recent data sets. You can also exit close your window appropriate using the exit. Our second command is edit, and edit allows you to copy, also find or find next, then preference. I know you've opened your STATA, and maybe your view is a little bit different with with my view. So what I did, I went to preferences, then came to general preferences, and on general preferences, I clicked general preferences, and I selected result color. I selected under color scheme, I selected custom 3. So it allows you to have your STATA in a way that you feel like it's a little bit intuitive for you. Data, here you have different commands, and we are not going to use, because I want you to have a hands-on experience when it comes to using commands, but these are shortcuts of using commands. And you have a shortcut of how you want to describe data, to see how your data has been described into STATA, how your data has been described into STATA, how your file has been described. You can use this particular command. Just go to data, then click describe, and inspect your data or list your data so that you have a feel of how your data looks like. Also, under data, you have data editor. Here, there are two options. Either you can edit your data, and most of the time we'll not be editing our data, because if you edit data in command, there's no option of redoing what you've edited. So it will be a little bit difficult for you. Most of the time we'll be using browse command. You can see my mouse, browse command. And you saw that when I wanted to view or investigate my data, I just typed browse. During the course also, you'll learn some of the short forms of writing. Let's say browse. You can just write BR. And remember, STATA is case sensitive. So if you write browse with capital B, STATA will not identify that command. It must be written in small letters. Let's say browse B small. Under data, you can also create or change your data. And here we'll be learning how to create new variables. Creating new variables extended, that is, if you have name, you can create another variable called name1 from the variable name. Then how to manage your data, data analysis, sorting, combining data set. Here, when we'll be looking at data manipulation, it will be important. Maybe you have a data set that has been collected during 2 different time intervals, especially for those who are doing case control study. You have data that you collect when a client or a patient was enrolled into care. Then, after 6 months or 1 year, you go out to the field, collect treatment outcome data for that particular patient or client. Then you need to merge the 2 data sets. So we will look how to merge 2 data sets. Also, we'll also be looking on how we can combine groups using combined data set. When it comes to graphical representation, we have graphs. Then you select the graph that you want to project or the graph that you want to draw. And here you have multiple graphs. Let's say we want to draw a graph of histogram. I've clicked on histogram. Then it will open, a pop-up window will appear. Which variable do you want to show in your histogram? We can say we want to show a variable for, let's say, weight. Then how many bins do you want to have? Let us leave it default. We want to have like 10 bins. Then, is your data continuous or discrete? Discrete, just as the name suggests, is exact number, a whole number. For example, how many attendants are there in today's session? We have 12 attendants. Continuous is like weight. It can have a point, decimal point. For example, your weight can be 20.5 kilograms. Or your height can be 10 point something meters. So once you've selected, you click OK. Histogram for the weight will appear. So you'll have drawn your histogram. And from the histogram, you can see our model class, which again, we are going to learn when it comes to analysis. This is our model class. It has the highest number of frequency. And let's say if you're drawing, you can see our data looks like symmetrical, but it's not symmetrical. We'll also look at how to interpret your histogram. So most of our observations are in the center. So this area here. That is all about the windows that are there. In summary, we have 5 windows in STATA. That is a command window, variable window, property window, command prompt window, and output window. That STATA is a statistical software that enables users to analyze, manage, and visualize data. STATA is a command-based application as well as a menu-based application. Let's move to our our next topic, which is some of the essential commands that we'll be using. Open your STATA, which I believe all of us we've opened. Go to File, click Example Dataset, then Example, under Description, click on Example Dataset Installed with STATA. When you click on it, there's another pop-up that will appear. We have auto.dta. So, extension format, file format for STATA, for a file that has been saved in STATA, it is .dta. Just like Word, it is .doc or .doc or .docx. Once you are there, I want you to click Use. For auto.dta, click Use. When you do that, once you've done that, close your view help. Close your view help. Close it. Close your view help. Then go back to your STATA, and you will see a file has been uploaded. And that file that has been uploaded, it has started with suse auto.dta. sys is a command, which means system use. I want to use a file that has been saved inside my STATA system. That's the meaning of suse. So, whenever you will be calling a file that has been saved inside your STATA, you'll be using a command suse. I want to use a file that has been saved inside my system, and that file name is auto.dta. On command prompt window, where we type our commands. Now that we've uploaded our file, on the command prompt window, I want you to type browse. Once you've typed browse, remember, STATA is a case-sensitive application. So, everything should be in small letters. So, when you're typing, type browse and press enter. The command browse allows you to open your data file. It's like you are opening an Excel sheet in STATA. So you'll have a file will appear, then that file will have rows and columns. So your first column should be the name of your variables. And for our case here, we have 12 columns. Then we have rows. We have 74 rows, which are cases. For example, our first case, the name of the make is AMC Concord. The price of that make is 4,099. Mileage that it has covered, it is 22. Then the headroom, and again, you look at your variable property. And I want you to, when you are on your browse window, when you type browse, then this pop up, you also have your data set, then you have variable window on the left and property window. So when you are trying to understand your data, always look at the data in front of you as well as the variable and property windows, because they will guide you. For instance, rep 78 can mean anything. But when you go to your variable window, you'll see rep 78 means, and a label, repair records in 1978. So it was repaired thrice. You look at the headroom. Headroom is just headroom. The trunk, then whether the car is, the last variable, foreign, whether the car is domestic or foreign. So that's how you browse. You use browse command. During our data investigation, our data manipulation, our data analysis, we will be using browse command. This is a command that we will be using almost 90% of our time. Because once you've manipulated your data, you want to see if the changes were effected. And the only way to do that, you'll be using browse command. You don't need to type the entire word browse for you to use the browse command. When you type BR, STATA will know that you want to browse your data. So you just type BR on the command prompt window and press enter key. The same thing a pop-up will appear on your screen, and you'll be able to have a feel or to look at your data to see how many variables are there and how many cases have been entered, and the data type that are represented by my variables, which data types are in string format, which data types are in integer, which data types are in byte, and which data types are in categorical or nominal format. And we know when you have a data type that is in nominal or categorical format, STATA highlights that particular variable in blue. Whereas if a variable is in string format, STATA will highlight it in red. Some of the essential commands that we are going to use, and we've used one, is tabulate. I want you to go to your command prompt window where you type commands and type the word tabulate. T-A-B-U-L-A-T-E. Then space. Once there's a space in between, I want us to tabulate one variable, one-way variable, tabulation. Tabulate under your command prompt, tabulate foreign. I want you to type foreign, tabulate space foreign. Foreign is our variable, so we want to tabulate the variable foreign. When you press enter, a table appears. So for this, we have a variable called car type, right? Then under car type, it is in two levels. That is domestic or foreign. Frequency, domestic. Car type, domestic, appears 52 times in our data set. Whereas car type, foreign, appears 2 times. The percentage, this is 70.2%. Car that are of domestic type, they are 70.27, whereas those that are foreign type are 29.73. Then it will also tabulate for you the total number of observations that you have in your data, that is 74 observations, which represent 100%. Can we proceed to the next essential command, which is summary? Summary, just as the name suggests, it gives you like a brief description about your data. It is summarized with a Z. That is summarize. So type summarize. The variable you're investigating is called price. Then OBS means observations. How many observations are under variable price? There are 74 observations. Then the mean of the price, that is average. Price average is 6,165.257. Standard deviation. Your standard deviation is 22,949.496. Then the minimum price of these cars is 3,291, whereas the maximum price, because we are looking at summary statistics for the variable price, whereas maximum price we have 15,906. So that one is just a descriptive. You're doing a descriptive statistics. And here we are doing what we learned yesterday, measures of central tendency. I want you to do another summary statistics by typing summarize price, for the same price, comma, detail. Okay? Remember, now, when you put a comma, you are telling STATA, I'm introducing another command. And the command that I am introducing, it is called detail. I want a detailed summary statistics for the variable price. That is the command that you've introduced. And so you've typed summarize space price, comma, detail. Press enter. As once you've pressed enter, there's a pop on your output window. You have the command itself, and the command reads summarize price, comma, detail. When you are explaining this to a layman, you will say, I want a detailed summarized statistics for the variable price. Then you have a table, and that table, the title, it's written price, because that is the variable we are investigating. 1. Measures of central tendency. That is, you look at on your output window, you have the observations. That is, how many observations form part of measure of central tendency. We have 74 observations. Then the mean of our observations is 6,165. Remember, when we were not doing the detail, it was just a small table. But here, the table has expanded because now we are doing descriptive statistics, whereby we are looking at 3 parameters: measure of central tendency, variability, and distribution of our data. So the mean is part of measure of central tendency. It's the end of today's class. Tomorrow we will start. We'll start from. We'll go to the next essential command, that is generating a new variable, because we like also to learn how we can generate a new variable. Then once we are done with the essential commands, we will move to the non-essential commands, and we will dive into do file. And hopefully by the end of tomorrow, we'll be through with developing or creating a do file. Then we will start doing our importing data from either Excel form, Excel file, TXT, that is text file, or loading data which we've